So this I'll use. You can see they're all sporting new paint marks, or vast majority, a few of them we couldn't get in, to be honest, but most of them were scanned yesterday. There's a few that were a bit irritating. All the white Welsh hill ones. But yeah, everything that we scann's either got a single or a double lamb. So no barons and no triplets, which is exactly what we want, to be honest. Triplets are a bit of a pain. Sheep's only got 2 teats, so can really comfortably feed 2 lambs. And barons obviously an unproductive ewe, so not producing anything for us. So orange is the colour spot for singles, and purple is the colour spot for doubles. I don't know if you can really see from here. So some of each. It's more doubles than there are singles, which is also positive. Okay, so we've just got 5, I think they're mostly wethers. I think there might be 1 ram lamb, and one of these 2 is a ram lamb, I think. But the rest are wethers. We're just going to vitamin drench them, and then we're going to fluke them. It's been really wet recently, so just going to give them a flukicide, which has got a really short meat withdrawal. It's like 6 days, I think, because these are only a few weeks off ready. Haven't got any scales here, to be honest, but I think they're probably like sort of 2 to 4 weeks off, so that's probably about right. The grey one and the one with horns left too. Not much left in the bottle, actually. That's all of that done. Just change the gun. Go to the flukicide. Giving them a flukicide, like a white wormer with a flukicide. There's massive resistance in this country to white wormers, but the flukicide bit is still effective. So you would normally only use this sort of wormer at the beginning of the year. I'm a bit worried about fluke at this point as well. It's a bit awkward, the string's too short, so I can't actually put it on my shoulder properly, which is a bit annoying. But I've only got a few to do, so it's okay. Right, just quickly check their feet while we got them in. Not too bad. Bit wet. They don't mind standing on each other.
What was that?
Apparently they don't mind standing on each other. We will. Strangely, the back edge of the feet have grown a bit more than the front, which is a bit weird. edge. Normally I find they grow more on the front edge, but
Does that mean they've been toe walking?
I don't know, maybe. So we've just got the ewe lambs in next to the wether lambs, so obviously they're split because I want to put them back in separate fields again because they've been in separate fields already. So same deal for the ewe lambs then. So we'll just vitamin drench them, fluke them. Well, actually we'll fluke them and then vitamin drench them because the fluke stuff is on the gun now. We've already got one gun with us, and we'll put the vitamins back on at the end then. Then we'll do their feet, and then they'll go back to their respective fields. A couple of them could do with dagging actually, but we haven't got any clippers here, so we'll have to do that next weekend maybe. So we're just mixing a group of, well, we had a group of 2 badger face ewe lambs, which are doing much better than the sort of crossbred ewe lambs we've got. And then we've got a Shetland ewe and a grey faced Dartmoor ewe, sort of left and right, now right and left, that are cull ewes, so they're not really up to having any more lambs for whatever reason. They're kind of getting a bit old now. Actually the cream Shetlands, we brought 4 sheep when we first started, and she's one of the very first sheep we've had. So she's a good few years old now. I think she's about 6 or 7. And yeah, they're just basically not breeding again, so they're going to be mutton. I don't know, a month or so I guess, sort of maybe 4 to 8 weeks. Yeah, so haven't got much available at the moment. We'll have a bit more available later in the year again. But yeah, so they've seen each other through the gate, these particular sheep, but they seem to be getting on all right. So yeah, just put them all together now. It's slightly easier for us to manage. And that way the grass in the field that the 4 sheep were in start to come on again. So we'll put the lambs out onto another field, and then once they've lambed the other ewes, they'll go into the field the 4 sheep were just in, and then back into this one, and we'll put these somewhere else then. Yeah, so that's it really. So I've got a brand new pair of waterproofs on today. I've literally just done vitamin drenched a few sheep and done a couple of sets of feet, and literally they are trashed already. So, and they weren't cheap ones, they were like 30 something pound. They were quite thick feeding, they felt alright, but they are rubbish. Find out what make they are and just don't buy them. Really rubbish. I had them on about 3 hours and they're wrecked basically.
But the cheap £7 pair that I've got on, you've worn them for days, I've worn them today, they're absolutely great. I'll leave some links below to the ones that seem to have held up well.
Come on. This is kind of the posh farrowing suite for her, so you can see she's still out in the rain. It's got a concrete floor, so it's easier for us and easier for her, to be honest, when she's really heavy and big. She's got something safe to stand on. Obviously you can see we still kind of keep it fairly well strawed. So she's got something to grip on and she's got something to play with. Something to do as well, you know. She's got plenty of space. And then she's got a nice house when she has her piglets.
And how far off do you think she is?
It's a good question actually. I'd have to check the calendar, but I think probably a week or 2 or something. She's She's not going to farrow tomorrow, I don't think. She might not have said that, but I think she's a couple, like maybe a fortnight or something. But at least now she's she can kind of start getting herself comfortable, and you know the pen's nice and secure. It's definitely, you know, it's piglet proof. Whereas the one she was in before, to be honest, where we've had big pigs like sows in it for so long, the fences are there's probably a 12-inch gap in a lot of places, which is fine for a sow because obviously a sow isn't going to fit through that, but a piglet would go through it without realising there was a fence. So it's not the easiest to video, but I've just started making a panel for the shed, so to divide a couple of the pens. So it's 10 foot, I think it is, a bit more maybe. So you can see I've slotted it all together now. You see the bar's rusty because I've had it ages, just offcuts from other stuff. I've just cleaned up the top and bottom ends where they slot into the hole to get a good connection on the weld. And this should just come off in the acid bath before it gets galvanised. We didn't do any of that, that just literally goes off to Joseph Ash, galvanised in Bridgend then, and they do that and it should all come back shiny silver, shiny zinc coloured. Yeah, so I'll just quickly weld this up now and then I'll flip it over and weld the other side. So little project started today. The old transit tipper we've got is in the process of not being a tipper anymore. So I've taken the body off it, ram to come off next, and yeah, another plan. So here we've got Forge. I'm on my own, so I had to catch him and turn him over first. He's slightly limpy on his front feet, which is no wonder really. He's grown really quickly. It's been about a month since we get him, I think. So I'm going to give him a quick trim now. So I've just given him a quick trim, bit of spray around them, a little bit sore on the one of them. She was limping on a little bit, but hopefully he'll be alright now. His back feet, I'll just clean them, but I think they don't need cutting, but I'll check them. So actually Forge did this feet cut. So even the back ones, it's all been trimmed and sprayed. Now he's found the bucket that I left. So I've just had to do Ed's feet as well. They were a bit of a pickle, but again, they haven't been touched for a month or so. The shelters are pretty consistently alright with their feet. You see Ford is still, the front right one a little bit funny. It should be alright, hopefully in a few days now it should settle down. Yeah. So just going to walk the long way back from checking the rams. So we'll walk through some of the fields here at Summerhill, which is the land we rent from the National Trust on a high nature status kind of arrangement. So you can see the sheep haven't been in this now for, well, we grazed the ewes in it for about a week and a half. Probably, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks ago. And then Forge came back in it then for a few days on his own when we took him off the ewes. And you see now we're starting to get quite a lot of regrowth. Obviously we don't completely nail the fields here. Try not to nail any of them, but it's easier said than done sometimes. But we're always quite gentle here. See, there's still quite a lot of longer stuff that is just left because it was, well, we didn't keep the sheep in here long enough that they felt they needed to eat it, and they'd always pick the prime stuff first. You can see we're still in January, but it's been quite warm and there is quite a lot of regrowth, which is really quite nice. So we'll probably put the ewes and then with their lambs out here in a couple of months, and by then there should be quite a lot of grass, hopefully. This is quite sheltered, this field, so although could get winds off the sea, it's for all the big hedges and big standard trees. And on all four sides actually. There's the rams that we just did the feet on. Yeah, there's plenty of shelter, so it'll be good for the lambs. Yeah, so this will probably might be the first field some of them come out onto. We'll have to see. I guess they might have to go through one of the other fields really. Might just push them through the field where the rams are at the moment. Yeah. So we've just had a bulk bag of cereal blend from Midland Feeds, which is a general purpose livestock feed. So it's got a blend of all sorts of stuff in it, but there's no soya in it, which is really good for us, because we're not really that into it. Well, it's a good source of protein. It's obviously imported from, more often than not, Brazil, so we're not massively keen on using that. We'd like to completely get away from it, hopefully, eventually. Well, it's quite hard at the moment, but we're still playing, and everyone that knows me kind of knows I'm interested in different feeding options and just trying to keep it as traditional, as natural as possible. We're quite fortunate that pigs will eat all sorts of stuff, so we can get quite a varied diet for them. Yeah, you can see it's quite fine, is my only slight concern. Some bigger pellets and nuts and stuff in it. You see the pea and beans pellets, which are these, the greener ones, I think. And then we've got some maize, some wheat, some barley, some oat feed pellets, which we've never had before. We've had wheat feed pellets before, which there's some of those in this as well. And then there's also some confectionery waste, which is, well, not waste, confectionery co-product, which is well, breakfast cereals and so on, which are probably the finer bits in here actually, I think, on the whole. But yeah, we'll see how we get on with it. It's a little bit finer than I might like, I think. It'd probably be quite good if you had a feeder wagon for cattle, like mixed into you know, their silage, and just put it out as one total mixed feed then. But we haven't, so we feed obviously differently to that, and we don't have cattle, we have pigs. They will eat it, they will eat the fine stuff. It's just because we feed outside, we might lose a lot of the fine stuff, so we might have to come up with a solution for that. But you know, there are bigger pieces, so we'll see how we get on over the next few days.